In this video, we are starting a new section, which is file handling in Python. And the first step is learning how to open a file, read its content, and understand how it works behind the scenes. So the first question arises, why file handling? Sometimes we need to read data from a .txt file like user data or logs or something else, etc. And we need to process that data and analyze that data after reading that data from a file. And sometimes we need to save some output into files. So in those cases, we need to handle those scenarios. Now, how to open a file? So in Python, we have a built-in function called open, and inside that open function, we give a file name and a mode. So the file name is basically the name of the file, including the path, means where the file is located if not in the same folder. And the mode tells Python how to open the file. So there are a few modes, for example R, which means read mode. Then we have W, which means the write mode. And by name you can understand that read mode actually reads a file, but the gotcha here is the file must exist. And the write mode creates a file if not exists and overwrites if it does. And then we have A mode, means the append mode, and it adds to file keeping existing content. So if a file contains some content, it adds further content after that previous content. Then we have X mode, means exclusive creation, and it fails if the file exists. Then we have B mode or the binary mode. It is used with other modes. Then we have the T mode or the text mode, which is the by default mode. Now if I open this panel, you can see we have created so many files here and all of them are Python files. Now let's create a text file. So I'm going to click on this plus icon and click on this file and let's name this test.txt. okay, so now it is a text file and it is in the same folder. So as you can see, this file where we are working on, it is in the my project folder, and this test.txt means this text file is also in this folder, means the my project folder. So both are in the same folder. Now let's write some text inside this file. So for example, hello, subscribe to this channel. Okay, now I can save this file. Now from this file, means this Python file, we want to see what is written in the text file. Now how we can do that? We want to read that content and print that in our output, means in the terminal. So for that, what we can do is we can have a variable. You can name this anything. I'm gonna call this file, then equal, and we just call the inbuilt method of Python, which is open, and here we give the file name in the first argument. So the file name was test.txt. As you can see, the PyCharm is suggesting me the file name. Now after that, we want to tell our Python in which mode we want to read. So the mode is R, means read. So why these suggestions? Okay, so after writing this line, what you can do is you can write another variable, for example content, and you have to write the first variable, which is this one, file, then dot, and you just write the read method and call that. Okay, now if you write the print statement and pass the content, Python will go to this file, read that, and it will print that content in the terminal. And it is the best practice after using the file.read method, we should close that. So I'm gonna write file.close. okay, so now if I run the code, you will see it prints hello, subscribe to this channel. So how amazing is that? We are getting content from a file. Now you can copy this line and paste 100 times, or let's say 5 times. 100 times is very much, then you can have other contents, for example other content, then long content. You can save this, and if you go to this files.py file and run that, you'll see Python reads the whole file content and it prints in the terminal. So behind the scenes, this open method opens the file in read mode. This one, it opens the file in read mode, and this file.read reads the entire content from that file. It opens and it reads the entire content. So always remember to close the file with file.close to free up resources. It is best practice. Work with the memory more efficiently. Now, if your file is too much big and contains thousands of lines text, you can make this more efficient. So after writing this line, what you can do is you can write a for loop. So just write for a line in file, then give the colon and just write the print statement, and inside there you can just write line dot strip, okay, and call that method. Now this strip removes a new line. That means we are looping directly over file and it reads it line by line, which is more efficient for large files. Okay, so now if you run the code, you'll see prints line by line. You won't see the difference here, but if you have more content here, for example 2000 or 3000 lines, then this program will become more efficient because now file reads the content line by line instead of reading the whole file at the same time. Now let's see another example with the with keyword. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write with open, and inside there I'm gonna write the file name, which is test.txt, then obviously read mode, then I'm gonna write as file, means I'm taking this variable, you can name this anything, and after the colon we get a block, and there we can say that content equal file dot read method, and we can just print the content. So if I run the code, you'll see again the same output. If you add more content here, paste that, save, go to the Python file, run the code, you will see it prints the whole text. So the question arises, why use with keyword? So if you use the with keyword, you don't have to close the file manually. It automatically closes the file, and it is a bit cleaner and safer code, you can say. Let me comment this code, and again let's write the first code, which is file equal open, and there test.txt, mode is R, then we have this content variable. Inside there we call file.read, then print the content, then we just do file.close. okay, I can run the file, it works perfectly fine, but we have this test.txt file in our folder. But what if we want to open a file and that is not available in the folder? For example, I want to open testing.txt file, which is not available in this folder. As you can see, it is not available. So what will happen? Let me run the code. You'll see the error, file not found error, no such file or directory, testing.txt. In these scenarios, when a file can be there or it can be unavailable, so to handle that, you can use the OS module. So what you can do is you can import the OS module, import OS. Okay, after importing OS, you can check if os.path.exists. So we're gonna check if the file exists or not. So in the exists method, we're gonna pass the path of our file. So the path is the root, means we are in the root folder, the file is in the root folder. So here I'm gonna tell that testing.txt. okay, we want to check that if this file is available. So if it is available, then we want to continue the process. Okay, and if the file does not exist, so we are gonna write the else part. Instead of terminating the program or crashing the program, we want to handle that. We just tell that file not found. Okay, so now if I run the code, you'll see it prints a file not found. But instead of the testing.txt, if I give the test.txt, and here as well, if I give test.txt and run the file, you'll see it reads the file and prints its content. Okay, now you can use this code as well. So you can copy from that here and paste that here. Let me do uncomment. Okay, so before reading the file, we are checking if that exists or not. So now if you run the code, you'll see it works perfectly fine. So while handling files, beginners do these common mistakes. So they try to read file that doesn't exist, forgetting to close the file, or using wrong mode like W when you want to just read. Okay, so I want to show you some more things, and that is if I comment this code and copy just this part and again paste here, just uncomment this. Okay, run the code, it works perfectly fine. But what if you want to read a file which is not available in this folder? It is inside another folder. So how will you do that? So let me open our project folder in our file manager. So if you right click on your project folder, you'll get this option which is open in. If you are on Mac, you will find this option which is Finder, or if you are on Windows, you will get an option which is open in File Explorer. So as I am in Mac, I'm getting this Finder option. So let's open my project folder inside the Finder app. As you can see, the folder got open in my Finder. As you can see, the my project folder, and here as you can see, we have so many Python files which we created throughout this series, and we have our txt file as well. As you can see, this one. Now let's say instead of having this file inside the my project folder, we have another folder inside the my project folder, and the folder name is test folder, and the test.txt file is inside the test folder. So now that test.txt file is not inside the my project folder. If I go to my PyCharm and scroll to bottom, you will see there is no test.txt file here. Okay, instead of that, you can see that a test folder, and inside there we have this test.txt file. Okay, you can see the text. Now if you run this code, you will face error file not found, because we are telling that there is a file in the project folder, means the root folder, test.txt, but this test.txt is not inside the root folder but inside the test folder, which is inside the root folder actually. So we have to specify that. So for that, we give a dot, then /, and here we write the folder name. So inside the project folder, we have this folder which is test folder. As you can see, we get the suggestion from PyCharm, and inside the test folder, so we give another /, we have that test.txt file. Okay, now I can close this, and now if I run the code, you will see it works perfectly fine. Now again, if you have another folder inside this test folder, so let's have a directory called another. So inside the test folder we have another folder, and if we move this inside the another folder, okay, so now the test.txt file is inside the another folder, and PyCharm has updated our code actually. But if you remove this and try to read the test.txt file from test folder and run the code, you'll see the error file not found error, because now the test file is not inside the test folder anymore. We have to go to the test folder, then there we have a folder called another, and the test file is inside this another folder. So now if you run the code, you'll see it works perfectly fine. Let me show you another thing. I can move this text.txt to our root folder. So now as you can see, the test.txt file is inside this my project folder. Okay, it is not inside test folder, it is not inside the another folder. But what if our working file, means the files.py file, we move this inside the test folder? What will happen? Let's see. Let me click on refactor. Okay, so PyCharm automatically removed the error part, but previously this was the code. Okay, so now files is not inside the my project folder. So now if I run the code, it is inside the test folder, which is inside the my project folder. So after running the code, as you can see, we get that error. So the txt file is one level up, means it is one level in the parent folder. So we have to handle that. So Python is inside this file whose parent is this folder, which is test folder, and that's parent is my project folder, and that contains this file.txt, this one. Okay, so to tell go outside of the test folder and go to my project, we have to give 2 dot then /. Okay, now Python understand that, okay, we are in this file, but the test.txt file is outside the test folder. We have to go out of this test folder and go to the my project folder and search for test.txt. Okay, so if I run the code, you'll see it works fine. Okay, now if I move this to this another folder, again it will refactor. So PyCharm fixed the error. Let me show you the error. Let me remove this. If I run the code, you'll see the error because files now in this folder, a file from this folder, we have to tell Python to go out. So we are telling that go out one level up. So Python goes to this test folder from another. Now we have to again tell Python that from test folder go to my project folder. So again we give / then dot, and after going to my project folder, find text.txt. Okay, as you can see, now it will find the file. Now if I run the code, you will see it works fine. Okay, even if I right click here and open in my finder, you'll see my project, and there is this test folder. Inside there we have another folder, and as you can see, the files.py folder. When we give 2 dot from another folder, Python goes to test folder. As you can see, test folder. Then when we give / 2 dot again, it goes to the my project folder, and there it finds the test.txt file, so it can read that file. So I hope you understood how to work with files, specifically reading a file with some multiple scenarios, and I hope there should not be any confusion regarding this topic. So I hope you understood all the things discussed in this video. So that's all for now. See you in the next one.